looking everywhere, that's how the story goes.
The zombie apocalypse in Amash, Pennsylvania. In the forgotten hills of Amash, Pennsylvania, silence has replaced songbirds, and fear has swallowed peace. What began as a quiet morning turns into a nightmare beyond imagination, as the dead begin to rise, and hunger. Meet Annabelle, a brave young woman forced to flee her home with her loyal dog, Max. As neighbors turn into monsters and friends vanish in blood-soaked shadows, Anna teams up with survivors, including the fierce Jake and the mysterious archer Lena, to escape a town swallowed by horror. But the real nightmare begins when they reach the one place promised to be safe, Pennsylvania State Hospital. Is the cure real? Or is something far more terrifying hiding behind those steel doors? Mystery. Horror. Survival. This is not just a zombie story. This is a fight for the truth and for the soul of humanity. Watch now to uncover the secrets of the undead. Like, comment your favorite moment, and subscribe to the Zombie Story Zone for more thrilling episodes every week.
Every story's a thrill, come and let your courage show. Fight or flight, will unite as the horror unfolds.
The sun never truly rose that morning in Amash, Pennsylvania. The sky was covered in thick gray clouds, and the cold air felt heavier than usual. The town, normally full of soft morning sounds, chirping birds, barking dogs, distant tractors, was completely silent. Annabelle, 22, sat up in bed and rubbed her eyes. Her room was cold. Outside, the trees stood still. Her dog, Max, a black and white shepherd mix, paced near the door, growling softly. "Easy, boy. What is it?" she asked, pulling on her sweater. Then came a strange thump from outside. She walked to the window and peeked out through the curtain. The street was empty, except for a single figure stumbling down the middle of the road. His clothes were torn. His arms hung oddly at his sides. Blood stained his mouth and chest. It was Mr. Carter, the town's mailman. But something was wrong with his face. His skin looked gray. His eyes were empty. Anna opened the door slightly. "Mr. Carter, are you all right?" He stopped, turned. Then he screamed, a long, twisted, inhuman scream, and lunged toward her like a wild animal. Anna slammed the door and locked it, heart pounding. Max barked and growled as Mr. Carter pounded against the door with both fists, snarling like a beast. Shaking, Anna backed away and grabbed her late father's hunting rifle off the fireplace wall. Her hands trembled. This wasn't just fear. This was something worse. Something evil. The pounding suddenly stopped. Anna waited, then peeked through the curtain. Mr. Carter was gone. But across the street, Mrs. Langley stood motionless on her porch. Blood covered her white nightgown. A small child stood beside her, dragging one leg, the other half of his face missing. Anna's heart froze. She stepped back, grabbed her backpack, and ran to call Jake. The world had changed, and it wasn't going back. Anna's fingers trembled as she locked the door tight. Max growled low, his ears pinned back. Outside, the silence returned, but now it was sinister. Wrong. She dialed Jake's number with shaking hands. "Anna?" he answered, his voice full of panic. "I saw them. My neighbor bit her own husband. They're everywhere. I just saw Mr. Carter and Mrs. Langley, and a child. Jake, they're not human anymore. Meet me at the old red barn behind the cornfield. Grab whatever you can and hurry." Anna ended the call and rushed to pack her bag, canned food, water, flashlight, bullets. She slung her father's rifle across her shoulder and clipped Max's leash. But before she could leave, she heard a soft knock on the back door. Not loud, not pounding, just tapping. She turned slowly and peeked through the kitchen window. Two women stood there. One of them was Clara Hewitt, a schoolteacher known for her kindness. The other was Tessa Vaughn, a glamorous herbalist with wild red hair and a strange smile. Both stared at the door with pale, lifeless eyes. Their clothes were torn, stained with dark blood. Clara's jaw hung loosely as if broken. Tessa's elegant dress was soaked from the chest down. "Anna," Clara moaned. "Let us in." Anna stepped back in horror. Max barked like mad, throwing himself at the door. Tessa smiled, a smile too wide, too calm. Then they began to scratch at the door, fingernails dragging slowly across the wood. Anna didn't wait. She slipped out the front, rifle ready, and dashed into the woods behind her house. Max followed, growling and tense. She ran until the house vanished behind trees. Her town, her world, was changing into something monstrous. But Anna wasn't going to die easy. She had a rifle, a dog, and a mission. reach Jake, and survive. Somewhere in the dark woods, wind howled through the trees, and far behind her, Clara and Tessa were still whispering her name. The woods seemed to close around Anna like a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. Every branch snap made her jump. Every gust of wind sounded like whispering voices. Max stayed close at her side, ears sharp, tail stiff. After what felt like hours of running, Anna finally saw it. The old red barn, rising from the mist like a ghost from her childhood. It stood crooked and tired, half covered in ivy, behind a crumbling stone wall and rows of dry corn stalks. Jake was already there, pacing nervously. When he saw Anna and Max, he ran to them. "Thank God," he said, pulling her into a tight hug. "I thought I lost you." "You almost did," Anna whispered. "Clara, Tessa, they're gone. Turned. They were at my back door." Jake's face tightened. "It's spreading fast. Too fast. My street's gone. My mom?" He stopped. His voice broke. Anna didn't ask. She just nodded. Everyone was losing someone. They stepped inside the barn. The air was damp and dusty. An old oil lantern hung from a nail in the wall. Jake lit it, casting flickering shadows across old tools, rusted horseshoes, and broken crates. There was one more person inside. A tall, blonde girl with piercing green eyes and a pistol in her lap. "Who's this?" Anna asked. Jake gave a small nod. "This is Vivian Locke. I found her near the creek. Her family's gone, but she's tough." Vivian gave a quiet nod, brushing dust from her jacket. Her beauty was cold and sharp, like winter glass. "If we stay here long, we'll die. I heard a broadcast before everything cut out. The hospital up on the ridge? They say it's safe. Some kind of military zone." "I heard it too," Jake said, turning to Anna. "They said there's a cure." Anna looked between them. "Then we need to go." They barricaded the barn doors for the night. Outside, the wind howled like a warning. Inside, Anna sat against the wall with Max by her side. Vivian cleaned her pistol. Jake stared out the window. No one spoke much. Because they all heard it, somewhere out there in the dark, a soft, high-pitched laughter. It wasn't human. And it was getting closer. Morning came, but the sun barely pierced the thick gray clouds above. It felt more like the world was holding its breath. Anna, Jake, and Vivian stepped out of the barn just after dawn. Anna carried the hunting rifle tightly, her eyes scanning the trees. Jake had a crowbar in one hand and a small backpack slung over his shoulder. Vivian holstered her pistol and tied her long blonde hair into a tight braid. Max trotted ahead, his ears twitching, alert as ever. "The hospital's about 2 days north," Vivian said. "We stick to the woods. No roads. Too many eyes." "Or teeth," Jake muttered, limping slightly from a twisted ankle. They moved quietly along an old game trail, past broken fences and frost-covered weeds. The deeper they went into the forest, the more unnatural everything felt. There were no birds, no squirrels, no wind, just silence, and the faint stench of rot. At midday, they came across an abandoned gas station on a quiet hillside. The windows were smashed, the doors hung loose. A few rusted cars sat in the parking lot, long emptied and stripped. "We should check it," Anna said. "We're low on water." Inside, the station was cold and dark. Shelves were knocked over. Dried blood stained the floor near the counter. Anna found some bottled water and a box of matches behind the cashier's desk. Vivian discovered a torn map on the wall, part of it burnt but still usable. Jake found something else, a bloody handprint on the freezer door, from the inside. "Someone, or something, was trapped in there," he whispered. Suddenly, Max growled. From outside, a soft, shuffling sound echoed through the air. Anna peeked out the cracked window. 3 figures moved slowly along the road. Zombies. 2 adults and a teenage girl, all limping, jaws slack, their heads twitching like puppets. "Don't fight," Vivian hissed. "We sneak." They slipped out the back, careful not to make a sound. But as they reached the tree line, Max stopped. He growled. A branch snapped behind them. And then, a scream. The scream cut through the forest like a blade. Anna spun around, rifle raised. Max barked fiercely. From between the trees, a woman stumbled out, barefoot and bleeding. Her golden hair was tangled with leaves, and her long white nightgown was torn at the shoulder. "Help me!" she cried. Jake caught her just before she collapsed. "She's human," he said quickly. "She's bleeding, but not bitten." Vivian scanned the trees with her pistol. "Where did she come from?" "I was hiding," the woman gasped. "My name is Elsa Quinn. I escaped from a farmhouse. They were my family, and they turned. All of them." Anna knelt beside her. "You're safe now. Just breathe." But then another voice shouted from the trees, "Wait! Don't shoot!" A second woman ran into view, slim, tall, in muddy riding boots and a black leather jacket. Her chestnut hair was tied tight beneath a hunting cap. She aimed a bow at the group, but quickly lowered it. "I saw her run. I followed," she said. "I'm not infected. Name's Riley Cross." Vivian stared at her with narrowed eyes. "Where's your group?" "Dead. Or worse," Riley replied, wiping sweat from her brow. "I've been tracking the movement of the infected. They're not random anymore. They're herding." "Herding?" Jake asked. "Like wolves," she said. "Something's changing in them." They moved deeper into the forest, now a group of 6: Anna, Jake, Vivian, Elsa, Riley, and Max. The trees thinned until they came upon a quiet creek. Beside it stood a small hunter's cabin, half buried in moss and branches. The door was closed. No lights, but smoke drifted faintly from the chimney. Vivian signaled them to stop. "Trap." She crept forward, spotted the wire connected to the doorframe, and carefully disarmed it. Inside, the cabin was warm and dry. A fire still burned low. Someone had been here recently. On the wall was a photo, 2 children, and a man in a military uniform. A journal sat open on the table, its last entry written just 2 days ago. The cure was real. They destroyed it to hide the truth. Anna stared at the page, her blood running cold. "What if the hospital isn't just a safe zone?" she whispered. "What if it's a trap?" Outside, the wind howled again, but this time, it sounded like voices. The night felt alive, with dread. A low, guttural moan drifted through the decaying streets of Amash, Pansylvania. Veronica gripped her axe tightly, her breath sharp in her chest. The air was thick with smoke and something worse, the stench of rot. Rachel and Elsa followed close behind her. Each step over broken glass and ash felt like a countdown. The city was quieter than it should be, almost like it was holding its breath. Then came the scream. A sharp, blood-curdling cry echoed from just ahead. They ran. Turning the corner, they found 2 women cornered by a decaying figure in a torn police uniform. The zombie snarled, its jaw hanging unnaturally, its limbs twitching with terrifying jerks, its skin peeled, its eyes white with hunger. Jack raised his shotgun and fired. The blast sent the creature crashing backward, its skull split, lifeless at last. The 2 women collapsed in relief, gasping for breath. "I'm Kendra," one said between sobs. "She's Liana. We were hiding." Then it came out of nowhere. "You're safe now," Veronica said, though her own heart pounded with doubt. Liana pointed to the diner behind them. "We heard noises. Beneath the floor, like something. Crawling." The group hesitated. An underground infestation? Inside the diner, the stench grew stronger. Tables were overturned. Chairs broken. A jukebox played a slow, eerie tune that warped like a lullaby for something sinister. Then came the sound. A scratch, then another. The wooden floor bulged. Something was moving underneath. Without warning, the boards exploded. Pale, decaying arms burst through, grabbing wildly at anything in reach. The moans were deafening now. Dozens of the undead were clawing out from beneath the diner, their mouths open in endless hunger. "Back!" Veronica shouted. "Everyone out!" Chaos erupted. Jack fired, Elsa swung her bat, and Rachel helped pull Kendra and Liana away from the writhing floor. The group barely made it back onto the street, panting, bloodied, and shaken. "We thought the city was infected," Jack said, catching his breath. "But it's not just the surface. They've been multiplying below." The realization hit like a hammer. The zombies weren't just roaming above ground. They were nesting, waiting, beneath their feet. And now, they were rising. They didn't sleep that night. After the terrifying escape from the diner, the group had taken shelter in an abandoned bus depot on the edge of the industrial zone. The walls were cracked, windows shattered, but it was quiet, for now. Rain poured outside, drumming against the tin roof. Every thunderclap made them flinch. Rachel stood near a broken vending machine, clutching a flashlight, her hands trembling. Elsa sat by the wall, sharpening her blade. Veronica and Jack were whispering near the entrance, their eyes scanning the dark road beyond the broken glass doors. "We can't stay here long," Jack muttered. "They're moving underground. That means they could show up anywhere." Liana, who had barely spoken since escaping the diner, finally raised her voice. "There's a supply station northeast of here. It's barricaded. My brother was stationed there when this started." Hope flickered. By sunrise, they set off. The road was slick with rain and stained with old blood. Cars were abandoned, doors open, glass broken. The city's silence was now haunted by distant, irregular noises. Moans, dragging feet, sudden screams that came and went like phantoms. They passed a school. Its gates were twisted open. The sign above the entrance hung by a thread, swinging in the breeze. Suddenly, a voice whispered behind them, "Help me." They turned, weapons ready, but no one was there. Then again, from the other side of the street, "Don't leave me." Jack scanned the area. "It's not real. Keep moving." But the voices grew louder, whispers that called their names, begged, pleaded. Veronica grabbed Kendra's hand. "They're playing with our heads." A loud bang echoed. Rachel had stumbled into a trash can, drawing attention from deeper in the street. And then they came. Dozens of them. Zombies poured from alleys and buildings, crawling, sprinting, groaning with hunger. Their flesh was pale and cracked, some missing limbs, some crawling on shattered bones. The group ran, hearts pounding. Their only goal now, survive. Jack led the charge, blasting a path forward. Veronica and Elsa fought fiercely, covering the others as they reached the edge of a small bridge. But the bridge was broken. Below was a steep ravine filled with murky water and overgrown trees. Behind them, the horde closed in fast. "There's no choice," Jack shouted. "Jump!" One by one, they leaped, splashing into the cold darkness below. As they dragged themselves onto the opposite bank, soaked and breathless, Veronica turned and looked back. The zombies stood at the broken edge, snarling. They wouldn't stop. Nowhere was safe. The hospital was cold. Too cold. As Anna, Riley, Vivian, Elsa, and Jake followed Dr. Eli Cross through the shadowy halls, their footsteps echoed against white tile floors stained with time and blood. Fluorescent lights flickered above. The place didn't smell like medicine. It smelled like mold, antiseptic, and fear. "This used to be a mental facility," Eli said, leading them down a corridor with sealed metal doors. "Now it's a shelter. We have power, food, even hot water, but only for those we trust." Riley glanced at him. "Trust? What does that mean?" Eli didn't answer directly. He opened a locked door and motioned them inside. The room was dark, until he turned on a monitor. Multiple screens lit up, security cameras. One showed infected people in locked cells, not mindless, but pacing, snarling, studying. Anna stepped closer. "They're thinking. We believe the virus is mutating," Eli explained. "Some infected are gaining memory, speech, coordination. We call them echoes." Vivian narrowed her eyes. "Why didn't you tell the world?" "Because the military shut us down. They fear what we found." And he hesitated. "And what?" Anna pressed. Eli sighed. "The cure exists. We created a prototype serum. It even reversed early symptoms. But the military ordered it destroyed, claimed it was unstable." Elsa gasped. "Then why are you still here?" "Because I made a copy. Hidden deep in the restricted wing." Jake, pale and sweating, slumped against the wall. "Why not use it?" "Because we need a live test subject," Eli admitted, voice cold. "Someone recently infected. We don't have one." Riley took a step back. "You're experimenting on survivors?" "No," Eli said calmly. "Not yet." Anna felt the walls closing in. The hospital wasn't a sanctuary. It was a lab. And Eli wasn't saving people. He was studying them. Suddenly, alarms blared. A voice echoed through the hall. "Breaching containment zone 3. Multiple subjects loose." Eli turned to them, deadly serious. "We have no choice. If you want to live, help me secure the wing, or we all die tonight." Behind them, distant growls echoed closer. Anna clutched her rifle. This was no longer about surviving the world outside. It was surviving the horror inside. The forest beyond the ravine was dense, wet, and eerily quiet. Twisted branches loomed overhead like skeletal hands. Every step the group took squelched in the soaked earth. Fog hung low across the moss-covered floor, but it wasn't natural. It clung to them, thick and cold, as if the woods themselves were watching. Rachel led the group now, following a rusted hunting trail she'd found etched into a tree. "If we keep heading north," she said, "we'll reach the old ranger station." "It better be intact," muttered Elsa, wiping blood from her cheek. "Or we're done." A shrill howl echoed through the trees. Everyone froze. It wasn't a zombie. It was something else. The group picked up pace, ducking under branches, slipping on wet rocks. Then, Veronica spotted something. A hatch hidden beneath vines and mud. She brushed it clear. It was made of steel, bolted into the ground. Kendra crouched beside her. This wasn't made by accident. Someone built this to keep things in. Or out. Jack tried the handle. Locked. Suddenly, the earth around them shivered. The low, bone-deep rumble returned, the kind they'd first felt under the diner. "They're under us again," Elsa said. "We have to move, now." Just as Jack forced the hatch open, something burst from the ground behind them. A clawed hand. Then another, moaning, scraping, rising. The group dove into the hatch one by one, landing hard on a metal staircase. As Jack pulled the door shut above, Veronica caught one last glimpse of the forest floor, crawling with pale, twitching arms. Below them, the metal stairs creaked downward into blackness, and from that darkness, something was breathing. The steel door to the underground tunnel groaned open. A wave of foul air hit them, thick with decay, blood, and burning wires. The flashlight beams trembled across wet walls, rusted pipes, and claw marks. The narrow corridor sloped downward into pitch darkness. "This was built during the Cold War," Eli whispered. "It leads to an old fallout shelter outside town. It's our only chance." Anna helped Jake down the steps, while Elsa and Vivian covered the rear. Riley lit a flare, its red light glowing like hellfire. Behind them, the hospital screamed. Gunfire, roars, collapsing walls. Echoes were everywhere now. Halfway through the tunnel, they found a barricade of crates and broken gurneys. Blood dripped from the ceiling. A soldier's body lay slumped against the wall, his chest ripped open. A small whimper echoed ahead. Anna raised her rifle. "Who's there?" A girl, no older than 16, stepped into view. Pale, shaking, blood on her dress. Her name tag read Clara. "Help me," she whispered. Vivian rushed to her, but Eli held her back. "No, wait." Too late. Clara's eyes turned black. Her spine cracked backward. With a shriek, she lunged at Vivian. Riley fired, arrow to the head. The creature dropped. "She was one of them," Elsa whispered, horrified. "They're evolving faster than we thought," Eli muttered. Suddenly, lights sparked on around them. Someone had rerouted the power. From the shadows, echoes surged. Faster, smarter, hungry. The group opened fire. Screams echoed in the tight space. Jake fell. Elsa dragged him back. Vivian stabbed one echo in the eye with her knife, her face smeared with blood and rage. Anna ran out of bullets. Then Riley stood in front of her, shielding her with his body. "Run!" "No!" she shouted. Riley turned and smiled one last time before throwing a grenade into the horde. The explosion shook the tunnel. Eli opened the hatch at the far end. "Go!" Anna, Elsa, Jake, and Vivian burst into the night air, coughing, bloodied, alive. They collapsed on the grass outside the abandoned shelter. But behind them, smoke rose from the tunnel's mouth, and a figure stepped out. Tall, still, not human anymore. Anna's heart froze. "Riley?" His eyes glowed faint red. He had changed, but he had followed them out. Dawn broke over Amash, Pansylvania. The once silent woods stirred with a strange calm. Birds dared to sing again, but beneath the stillness, something had changed. Anna sat by a dying fire, her arms wrapped around Elsa, who slept restlessly. Jake was unconscious, his fever rising. Vivian stood watch, silent and bloodied, her blade still wet from the night's battle. Dr. Eli Cross, exhausted, scribbled in a notebook, his fingers trembling. None of them spoke about what they saw last. About Riley. He had walked out of the tunnel alive, but not human. His red eyes glowed faintly beneath his hood as he stood at the tree line. He didn't attack. He didn't speak. He just watched, before vanishing into the forest without a sound. Anna's heart ached with questions. Had he changed completely? Or was there something of Riley still inside? Later that night, Anna found something near the trees, his journal, wrapped in leather, still warm. The final page read, open quote, "I can feel it. The virus didn't kill me. It changed me. I see them, hear them. I know their minds. I'm one of them now, but I remember you. I remember everything." Close quote. "I'm not your enemy. Not yet." Close quote. Open quote. "But the real war is coming." Close quote. Open quote. "And I may not be on your side when it begins." Close quote. A chill crept down Anna's spine. Vivian whispered behind her, "He's still watching, waiting." Eli closed his notebook slowly. "He's the first, but not the last. The echoes have evolved, and now they have a leader." Far away, in the ruins of the hospital, a signal blinked on a broken console. Transmitting. To unknown command message, Project Echo has survived. Somewhere, someone received it and smiled. To be continued. The dead walk. The smart ones lead. And the war for humanity has only just begun. Subscribe to the Zombie Story Zone for Part 2, Rise of the Echo King. Don't miss the nightmare that's just beginning. Zombie thriller, apocalypse series, Echo Survivor, Amash Pansylvania, the Zombie Story Zone. And so the nightmare ends. Or does it? Anna, Vivian, Elsa, and Jake may have escaped the tunnels of death, but peace is short-lived in Amash, Pennsylvania. Deep in the woods, something far more terrifying watches and waits. Riley, once their friend, now something else. Not quite human, not fully monster, the first of a new kind. A smarter breed of undead. And somewhere in the shadows, Project Echo still lives. What secrets did the government bury in that hospital? What did Riley really become? And who, or what, answered the final transmission? The truth is more horrifying than any infection. If you love the suspense, twists, and survival horror, hit that like button, drop a comment with your favorite moment, and don't forget to subscribe to the Zombie Story Zone for the next chapter in this dark saga. Coming soon, Rise of the Echo King, where the line between man and monster disappears forever. The undead are evolving. The war has only begun. Will you survive the next outbreak? Zombie Story Zone, Apocalypse Thriller, Rise of the Echo King, Undead Saga. Subscribe now.
To the streets, hear the whispers low. Every story's a thrill, come and let your courage show. Fight or flight, will unite as the horror unfolds. In the Zombie Story Zone, adventure never grows old.